So the question is, do you know what money is? So dollars, euros, pounds, yen, rupees. Why does these rectangular pieces of paper hold any value at all? In reality, the main secret of money is that the paper banknotes we are familiar with are, strictly speaking, not money at all. True money has been hidden and appropriated by others. So, are you intrigued? Do you want to know how this came to be? So, to find out, we need to dive into the fascinating and complicated economic history, the history of money, and learn how it all began. Be sure to watch this video till the end, as it will help you better understand how the financial system actually works. So, let's get started. I'll begin by revealing one important secret. In fact, from an economic standpoint, money is just another commodity in the market, like a cup of cappuccino or a brand new iPhone or a bag of chips at the supermarket. The difference between these goods and the commodity we call money is that money serves the function of equivalent exchange. So in simpler terms, it is a medium of exchange through which we can trade a cup of coffee for, say, a toothbrush. In the past, people used barter, meaning they exchange goods directly without money. But since it was problematic to trade, for example, a horse for a basket of apples, they used some other commodity, something more convenient and divisible. But what? So the Maya tribes, for example, used cocoa beans for this purpose, while in ancient China, Australia, and other places, shells were used. So, by the way, that's why many coins from different countries feature images of shells. And at different times, various people also used pearls, animals, skins, tobacco, rice, and a host of other items that were naturally understood as money. More precisely, commodity money. Later on, gold became the universal and widely accepted form of money. But why gold? Well, because this precious metal is easy to work with, it can be divided into smaller pieces, it is relatively rare, and it's considered beautiful and valuable everywhere. Gold proved to be so effective as money that it remains the largest asset in the world by capitalization to this day. But where did paper money come from? It's a good question. Paper money, or more precisely banknotes, didn't just appear out nowhere. Pay attention to the word banknote. What kind of note are we talking about? So the fact is that banknotes were invented by merchants. Imagine you are a merchant conducting business between two towns. To buy something in the neighboring town or in a neighboring city, you would have to carry a lot of gold with you. This would take a lot of time and you could be robbed on the way, so you would need armed guards. But what if there are other merchants in the neighboring city who also need to transport their gold to your town and buy goods from you? Then you could be clever. You could open a special institution with branches in different cities, deposit your precious metal there, and then in return receive a receipt. If you present this receipt in the neighboring city, you would receive someone else's gold, but in the same amount. It is like literally opening a bank. In other words, a banknote is not money. A banknote is a document that, when presented, used to allow you to receive real money, or gold. Soon after, governments monopolized the ability to print and mint money. This period will go down in history as the gold and silver standards. People began to confuse cause and effect, and as a result, we can say that money was backed by gold or silver. In reality, there were just records for obtaining real money, and over time, the proportion of gold, silver, and other money that supposedly backed the banknotes became smaller and smaller. In everyday life, we exchange banknotes because it's easier and more convenient than exchanging metal bars. But after World War I, most countries began to abandon the gold standard. The US abandoned the gold standard domestically in 1933. So at some point, money suddenly became backed by nothing. And I really want you to like this video if you would also prefer to see the gold standards instead of inflation. By the way, how much backed by nothing money do we have accumulated? In macroeconomics, there are different ways to measure the money supply. Most often, different types of money masses are assigned different categories. For instance, the M2 money supply, which, to skip the details, includes deposits that can be converted into cash, exceeds $91 trillion. So how much of that sum is in cash, you might ask? less than 10%. Even now, cash is usually into electronic payments. A significant portion of all transactions occurs in a cashless form. But what are the cashless funds? They are simply numbers on a balance displayed on your smartphone screen, representing the amount you can withdraw by using the nearest ATM. But wait a minute, doesn't that sound familiar? Of course, yeah. Cashless money is just a record of how much cash you can get from the bank. Just like in those distant times when gold standard was still in place, a banknote was a record of how much money in gold we could receive at the bank. So history is repeating itself here, and the history of money is simply a chain of more convenient ways to record how much money we supposedly own. But do we actually own anything? That's a complex economic question bordering on philosophy. But one thing is clear. If everyone wanted to simultaneously withdraw cash from their bank deposits, even the cash in the form of coins and banknotes wouldn't be enough. This could likely lead to a global crisis. Moreover, governments are constantly printing new money, which causes the old money to depreciate due to inflation. That's why it's so important to invest your money in reliable financial assets and continuously improve your financial literacy. For everyone and anyone interested in responsible ways to grow their savings, I'll have a link in the description. And to conclude, I can say that a video about the history of money without mentioning cryptocurrency would be so incomplete. Many of these accumulated problems and risks, in my opinion, contributed to the emergence of Bitcoin. Essentially, cryptocurrency is in part a better form of money because owning Bitcoin means you own Bitcoin itself, not just a record of ownership of banknotes, coins, gold, or shells. However, the technology of cryptocurrencies is actively evolving towards CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies. So, as I said, history repeats itself, although this might be a topic for a separate complete episode. So let me know in the comments if you would like a separate episode on how cryptocurrencies are changing and what the future holds for them. Okay, that's all for now. My name is Anna and I'll see you soon.